So we're recording now. So I'll give us a countdown and then we'll make a start. 3, 2, 1. So we're here on day 2. Well, it's not day 2. Well, yeah, day 2, kind of day 2, interview 2 for Mental Health Awareness Week. And we're with a very special guest. We've got Michael Copeland, aka Fridgeman, on with us today. And just bear with us, people are listening, because Michael is somewhere very special at the moment. So I'll let Michael introduce himself and just let them know where you are.
I'm Mike Copeland, also known as the Fridgeman. I've been raising awareness and funds for mental health charities and raising awareness for mental health for the last 2 years. And I'm currently sat at the bottom of Ben Nevis, waiting to travel further up the West Coast tomorrow on a Highland tour.
So if the signal drops out, that's the reason why. He's at the bottom of Ben Nevis in a van. So that's the reason why if he drops out.
Yeah.
So thank you for coming on, Michael. I've been following you for a while. I met you in person at a run that we did at Trentham Gardens a couple of months ago. I think it was before Christmas, actually. And we've had this in the pipeline for a long, long time. And we wanted to save it for Mental Health Awareness Week, just purely because you are raising awareness for mental health, but also you're raising money for. Are you still raising money for Mind?
Yeah, I'm still raising money for North Staff's Mind, although I've raised money for 3 different mental health charities. I'm a little bit affiliated with North Staff's Mind now, and the money that I've actually, obviously we'll go into this in a bit more detail, but the money that I've actually raised over the last few months is actually going to go towards creating a men's only mental health talking group in the Staffordshire area. So, yeah.
That's really good. So you're from Stafford originally, I believe?
Yeah, originally from Stafford. My dad's side of the family are Stokies. My mum's side of the family from Stafford.
Brilliant. So talk to us about your most recent challenge. I know currently you're in all in Scotland, going all over the place, going over different mountains and things, but currently your most recent one was climbing Mount Kilimanjaro. Talk to us a bit about that. What was the point in that?
Yeah, so Kilimanjaro was kind of a trilogy. It was almost I always say, reason why I challenge myself, and I have done since I was 16, is because I never feel good enough. I always feel I should be doing more. So this was kind of the third challenge with the fridge. And basically it was to create as much awareness for mental health and raise as many funds as I can for mental health, especially men's mental health, by doing something to get people talking. So the idea was to carry a fridge on my back to represent the burden of poor mental health to the top of Kilimanjaro, the highest freestanding mountain in the world, and to make a statement and to make people look.
Why Mount Kilimanjaro? So you say it's the highest freestanding, but is there a significance behind Kilimanjaro, or is it?
The funny story behind that is, I've done my 2 previous events. So my first event 2 years ago, I climbed Snowdon with the fridge full of beer.
I saw that.
And that was for calm. Raised £8,000 doing that. And then last year, I did the national 3-peat challenge, so the highest mountains in Scotland, England, and Wales in under 24 hours with the fridge again. And then this one was almost like I wasn't going to do another one, to be honest. And then I was on a BBC Radio Stoke interview with Lee Blakeman.
Okay.
And he basically, after we got towards the end of the interview, he kind of just made a joke. He's like, "Oh, what next? Kilimanjaro?" And sort of laughed and shrugged it off. And I kind of laughed and shrugged it off myself at the time. But then afterwards, I kind of thought to myself, no, why not? Why can't I do Kilimanjaro? It is essentially just a hike, but obviously with the added difficulty of the heat and the altitude and the elements.
Michael, nice to meet you, by the way. Thanks for coming on the show.
No problem. Nice to meet you.
Put it into perspective. How much does this fridge weigh?
So the fridge on its own, empty, and bear in mind I had to take the compressor off because of the altitude. So the fridge empty with my metal harness carry frame on it was 19 kilos empty. And then I put my hiking pack inside the fridge as well. So I didn't let the porters carry all my kit. I obviously the porters, you carry your own day kit, and then the porters carry all the tents and whatever else. But obviously, there's a lot of them. So yeah, it was roughly 25 kilos, I'd say.
The obvious question then comes, it's obviously a weighted fridge. It's got that weight in. Is it the same fridge you've used for all the challenges? And how do you get the fridge to Kilimanjaro?
The first two challenges is the same fridge. It's the same fridge I've got in my garage now. But the one at Kilimanjaro, this was at the added pressure and the added difficulty of setting up this challenge was we had to source a fridge out in Tanzania. So basically, we were in talks with the excursion company and their people over in Tanzania. So we had to source a fridge. So they found me a fridge. I basically took my metal. It was from a US Army Alice pack. It's basically a metal carry frame with straps over the top of the metal frame and some straps around the waist. So I had to take that out with me in my suitcase, the frame. I took nuts and bolts, ratchet strap, spanners, screwdrivers, drill bits, and then I got to the lodge, the hotel. Horrible jet lag. I had about 3 hours sleep in about 2 days, and then I had to make the fridge. Basically, I had to drill some holes in it, bolt this frame to the fridge, and then put all the vinyl on it. So on the sides of the fridge, there's all mental health phrases. So anxiety, depression, PTSD, overthinking, all these kind of words to, kind of make people look twice. And then all the sponsors that sponsored the event, all them stickers were on there. So yeah, it was about a 3-4 hour job just actually getting the fridge ready to go on the climb.
Was it the first fridge you saw, or were there options? You can have this one, or you can have this one, or you can have that. Was it like a bit like a bullseye? Did it? This is what you could have won.
Ice dispenser.
No, it was actually it was quite difficult because the fridge that they sent me a video while I was training of this fridge they'd sourced for me, and they showed me the measurements with a tape measure and whatnot, and it was very similar to mine. It was slightly bigger than the one I've got, but when I got out there, that wasn't the fridge that they got me. They got me a completely different fridge, which was the same size as mine, but a little bit taller and a little bit deeper. So yeah, it was a chore just to get the fridge set up to climb, to be honest.
So how long did it take you to do it? Is it 7 days?
Yeah, we did the La Mosha route, which is 7-8 days. A lot of people think it's quite weird how you take 6-7 days to get up, but only take 1.5-2 days to get down. But this is the difficulty with climbing in altitude, especially if you've never been in altitude. The quicker you go, the more likelihood of you getting altitude sickness. So you can do Kilimanjaro in 5 days. You can do it in 7 days. You can do it in 8 days. But I asked them when I actually wanted to do the challenge. I spoke to the excursion company. Me being me, I said, "What's the quickest route I can do?" And they turned around to me and said, "The challenge isn't about being the fastest man to take a fridge to the top of Kilimanjaro because no one's ever done it before. The challenge is actually getting you with the fridge to the top." So they said, because you haven't been in altitude before or for a very long time, they wanted me to do the 7-day route to ensure that obviously I complete the challenge, because obviously there was a lot riding on it with sponsors, companies sponsoring the event and whatnot. So yeah, it's weird. You take a very long time to get up. You basically go up very slow to let your body adjust to the altitude, but then once you're up there, you can literally get back down as quick as you like. The sooner you get back down, the better you start feeling with the altitude sickness.
Yeah. Did you bring the fridge back down with you then?
Yeah. No fly tipping here, mate.
I thought you might have left it up there just with some beers in there for people when they climb it next time.
No. Loads of people ask that question. One woman kind of commented on my social media, and she was like, "I hope you're going to take it back down. People leave lots of litter up there." And I'm like, "Yeah, right, whatever."
So where is the fridge still? I presume the fridge is still across there now, and is it in a museum or something?
The fridge that I used out there, the excursion company have got it, and they said they're keeping it at the lodge. So I don't know. I think they're going to make a display out of it at the Woo 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 Lodge.
So how does it feel to be the first man to climb Mount Kilimanjaro with a fridge on your back?
And is it a Guinness World Record? Has it been recognised as a world record, or?
Well, this is the issue. We initially, when I had meetings with North Staff's Mind, and we first sort of got together and spoke about the event, the idea was to get someone to sponsor and how get Guinness World Records to make it official record. So we had a contact for Guinness World Records, and yeah, we very quickly learned that Guinness World Records is very much a money making company. So they wanted £10,500 to make it a Guinness World Record.
Wow.
Yeah. So obviously, no company in their right mind are going to sponsor you. You know, I'm doing it for a charity event, for God's sake. And I kind of told them that, and they basically said, "Well, we asked how can you justify, you know, charging £10,500 for that?" And they basically said, "Well, you're going to make loads of money with TV interviews and all this, blah 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 blah." And I was like, I'm doing it for charity. I'm not a celebrity. Do you know what I mean? I'm just an average guy just doing something good for charity. As it shouldn't cost us anything. But no,
Did Rob not say we're paying you £5,000 for this interview? That's how it works. It's coming out of Rob's own pocket.
I was going to say, I don't know where the £5,000 is going to come
from.
I'd
only need one more podcast, and maybe we can make it a record then. But no, it was quite annoying. But you know, the way things are now with the internet and whatnot, I'm pretty certain, you know, if anyone Googles my name or whatever, it'll be their first man to ever climb Kilimanjaro with a fridge. So,
but it's an incredible thing you've done and are still doing for an incredible cause, and we'll talk about the reasons of the causes in a minute. It's just a shame that Guinness, I didn't know that Guinness World Records can't. So is that something they do with all of their world records? You have to pay to hold a world record?
Yeah. Like if it's something small, so like the National Free Peak Challenge, I don't know anyone who's completed the National Free Peak Challenge in under 24 hours with the fridge on the back. So, you know, as far as I'm aware, I'm the first person to do that as well last year. And even to like have that in Guinness World Records, I think they wanted £1,000.
Mad.
And that's just me sending pictures. But things like the London Marathon, they attend the London Marathon. So, you know, if you're trying to break a world record, like you know, a guy I know who started carrying a fridge after me and asked me all about it. Sam Hammond, he is a Marine. He ran the London Marathon last year with a fridge and broke the world record for the fastest London Marathon carrying a fridge. Yeah. And he got it a world record, no problem, because they are at that event. They've got adjudicators at that event, so there's no cost involved. Whereas with Kilimanjaro, they would have wanted evidence of some sort. I mean, you can't really fake being on top of Kilimanjaro with a fridge, I would imagine. But yeah, so it's just, for me, I just thought it was ridiculous. And even the charity said, you know, at the end of the day, you're the first guy to do it. It doesn't matter whether it's, you know, a book or not.
Yeah,
it's a massive shame, but no one's ever going to take that away from you. As you say, you've got that, and I think that's you're becoming well known for your charity work, and obviously doing what you're doing, and obviously people are following in your footsteps to some extent. Yeah. With regards to Mind, obviously we're recording this for Mental Health Awareness Week. What's the background and the reasons why you're going to, or are raising money for Mind?
Well, you know, when I left the army, I joined, you know, without going too much into my life story, although obviously this is what it's all about, this podcast, is I suppose I joined the army at 16. I grew up in a council estate, started taking drugs when I was 14. Not light drugs. I started taking ecstasy when I was 14, you know, growing up in the 90s as a kid. You know, we didn't have mobile phones, so it was kind of like the normal thing to do, wasn't it? But yeah, so 14 years old, started taking those kind of drugs. And then if I didn't join the army, you know, I don't know what I would have done, but I joined the army at 16. I also become a dad at 16, which I missed the birth of my first child, because I was in the army. I was in training. So I was 10 weeks into training when she was due to give birth. I got home, but I was about 4 hours late, so I missed my son's birth, which is obviously my biggest regret. But you know, now looking back, I can kind of say, you know, it wasn't my fault at the end of the day. You know, it's the army, but it is like one thing that eats me alive. And then, yeah, my army career, obviously, that's kind of when I started pushing myself. I even started pushing myself before the army, to be honest. But yeah, I become a physical training instructor in the army. I had this routine. I was part of this brotherhood. I was, you know, doing these amazing things, flying to all these amazing places. And then I left the army when I was 24, I think 2008. And that's when it kind of like, my mental health kind of just went downhill. I didn't really know how to get back into the routine of civilian life. Even though I was only in the army 8 years, I very much needed and craved the structure and the discipline, the routine that the army give you. So when I got out, it was like, right, I'm doing a 9 to 5 in a crappy job. I've got 2 kids. I got out just before my partner had my second child as well. So I'm now at home with 2 young boys and a missus, and you know, got a good family and that around me. But I was just so depressed. I just didn't know what to do with myself, and I just felt lost. And I started drinking a lot, and yeah, I just felt really, really depressed for about 6 months. And then all of a sudden, I got back into training, started doing weights again, and then I become a bodybuilder for 10 years. I started competing in bodybuilding, won numerous bodybuilding titles. I've done over 30 shows. And I believe that, and this is what I'm trying to promote across my socials, you know, I believe that the structure and the discipline and the routine of the gym, of fitness, exercise, helped me massively, and it still continues to do. And I always say to people, I use the gym, physical activity, the outdoors as positive outlets to stop me going down that, you know, negative route again. But yeah, that's kind of, I've always felt that I've never been good enough. I overthink a lot. I struggle with, you know, to control my mind a lot. And a lot of people will tell you, who know me, and you probably see from my social media, is I never like to sit still. I always like to keep busy.
Hence why you're in Ben Nevis at the moment. I've noticed that over the last couple of days you've been going all over mountains, minus the fridge, I might add. The fridge is not making an appearance.
Yeah. I think, I think, you know, and since leaving the army, I've always kind of traced them mental challenges and then physical challenges. We did a ridge yesterday, a mountain ridge yesterday. Enoch Igak, if that's the right pronunciation, in Scotland, in Glencoe. It's meant to be the most dangerous ridge walk in the UK, and it didn't really faze me. It was pretty easy, to be honest, to me. But yeah, I'm just always chasing that. You know, when will it be? You know, that's what I kind of have to ask myself sometimes: is when will I be good enough? I suppose. But you know, I just, this is a way of keeping myself happy and keeping myself focused with a purpose.
I've been looking at your Instagram. I've been looking at it for a while, but I suppose over the last couple of days, with the amazing views of that place where you said with the drone, I presume it was a drone, taking photos and videos of you. So van life, what's that like? Because I know you're in your van now. So do you go to different places when you can? Have you got a full-time job, or how's it working?
I'm a lorry driver.
Oh, right.
But I don't go on the road anymore. It's called a shunter. So reverse trailers on and off bays in the yard and whatnot. So, but no, I'll be 100% honest. You know, the goal is to eventually travel in the van around Europe. Hopefully, when the boys, obviously, the beauty of having kids young is, you know, I've got a 23, nearly 24-year-old, and then I got another lad who's 18 at the end of the year. So, you know, for us, we're kind of getting to that point where we've got a lot of freedom back now. So, yeah, I've just never really been bothered about material things. Like, if I buy things, it's to help me, you know, do things that make me happy.
Yeah.
So I'm a lot more for experiences and memories than material things.
Yeah.
And that's basically what the van does. It helps me travel and hike and be outdoors a lot more.
Yeah. And how's it that, I suppose I'm an overthinker. I overthink a lot of things. And one thing that I can't stand, is being on my own. I can't stand being on my own because I overthink too much on my own, and I overthink. And if they've got somebody with me to keep me occupied, that helps me. How does that fit in with being in the van, and how does that fit in with hiking? I know you go with other people when you're hiking, but how does it fit in when you're up in the mountains? Does it just clear your mind completely?
Yeah, 100%, mate. I think I'm exactly the same as you. You know, I struggle. I struggle to be on my own.
Yeah.
I need to be on my own because I kind of find you kind of find yourself when you're on your own. I think when you're in a very big group of people, you don't really know who you are,
Yeah.
especially if you know you're like me. You can be very easily influenced. So yeah, I think the hiking, being outdoors, you just feel so insignificant. Some of the places I go, I mean, you know, you're on about the drone footage of me hanging on this ridge, you know, in the middle of Glencoe in the Scottish Highlands, and it's just so vast. You know what I mean? The landscape is so vast. You literally feel like a speck in the ocean, and it does make all your problems feel a little bit more insignificant.
We talk about you being on your own. A lot of this, you've talked about your sons. Is there a father-son fridge carrying thing going on at some point? Are you all going to have fridges on your back and all do a bit of a walk?
You could have mini fridges. You could have them fridges that you get that are tiny. You could put them.
I mean, as a father and son combination climbed Kilimanjaro with fridges on the back, is that possible? Have I started coming out?
I don't know about that, but I think, you know, my lifestyle has definitely rubbed off on my boys because, you know, my eldest son, you know, he's getting back into boxing, but my youngest son, he started training with me when he was 12 years old. He's grew up watching me compete in bodybuilding, and he's obviously come and watched me win shows and stuff like that. So I think that kind of rubbed off on him because at 15, he became a British and world powerlifting champion.
Wow.
And now he's very much into mixed martial arts. So he trains pretty much 6-7 days a week. And like me, I've trained 5 days a week for 20 years.
I was gonna ask a little bit about the training because obviously you talked about the altitude of Kilimanjaro. You talk about obviously the fact that this fridge can weigh up to 25 kilograms with your stuff in. So you've obviously got to do training. For those that can't see you on this, because Rob does sometimes do videos, you're obviously in very good shape because you've got biceps bigger than Rob's head. That's evident. You're inspiring your sons, but you're going to be inspiring a lot of people into doing fitness and gym work and all that sort of stuff. But how do you train for this? Because you talked about the dedication. It must take an awful lot of dedication to train.
And can I add one little bit? As we are a running podcast, does that include running? Because I know I've met you at the Mental Health Run in Trentham. So does that include running?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I very much changed the way I trained for Kilimanjaro. Obviously, when I was in the army, I was a physical training instructor. I did a lot of running, and I took massive bodies of men out for group runs and battalion PT. And running was a big part of obviously my fitness when I was in the army. But when I got out, I very much sacked off their cardio and just slammed the weights for 10 to 15 years. So doing Kilimanjaro, I kind of knew that I needed to work on my cardiovascular fitness a bit. So my actual training regime for Kilimanjaro was weights 4 times a week, and then I would do 2 runs a week. I'd do a short run and a long run. So my short run would be anywhere between 5 and 7 kilometers, and that would be a fast-paced run. So basically, get myself as out of breath as possible for as long as I can. And then my long run would be 10 to 12k, and that would be a much more slow, steady state run.
Yeah.
And then on the weekend, I'll go out in my van with the fridge, which would be a weighted march. So every weekend for probably 12 to 14 weeks, I would drive to a different mountain range or a different location, and also climb a mountain on the weekend with the fridge. So I was training weights 4 times a week, ran twice a week, and carried a 25 to 30 kg fridge up a mountain once a week. So the training was, I treated it very much like a bodybuilding competition. Yeah. When I was in training for a show, when I was in that dieting period, that cutting phase, 12 weeks out from a show, pretty much live like a monk. You know, I don't eat any crap, and I will literally just train like a demon and eat really well, and that's basically what I did for Killy. But I'll be honest with you, I've really found a love for running, and obviously I know it's a running podcast. I'm not just saying this, but you know, I've never really been a big fan of running because, you know, I'm 5'7", I'm nearly 15 stone, so you know, I'm not the lightest guy with the longest legs to go for a run. But I bought some decent running trainers, and I started the running, and I actually trained for the Stafford 10K last year, and that's I kind of knew 6 weeks before Stafford 10K that I was doing Killy, but I never told anyone because I didn't release it at this point. So I started training 4 weeks before. Yeah, I think I started running 4 weeks before the Stafford 10K, and my first run was a 5K, and it took me 31 minutes. You hear me?
Yeah,
There we go.
Is that any better?
that's better. Yeah.
I've just moved the phone to try and get it near the windows. You might get a better signal.
Okay.
Is that
No,
okay?
is that before we go on? Because we're gonna have to ask you to repeat yourself there a minute. Is that your van?
It's massive. It's amazing, isn't it?
It looks bigger than my house.
It is amazing. I've seen it before because he videos it all over. It's amazing.
That is incredible.
I know it is amazing. I've seen it. Look at that! Look at that, man.
Got a full that kitchen's bigger than my kitchen.
I know. Yeah,
There we go.
that's it. That's it. You're back.
Go back, yeah.
Yeah,
So I'll
we're
just
back.
open the vent. Might give us a better signal.
Hopefully.
Yeah. So the van's actually part of the story. To be honest, I mean, I built this van myself with no experience. So at the end of obviously when COVID hit, all the gyms closed, all the competitions stopped, and I was 3 weeks out from my last bodybuilding show.
Mm.
And I kind of took that as a sign that, you know, I wasn't meant to do that show. So I say again, I felt very depressed when the gyms closed because obviously that was my kind of sanctuary. So I started. I basically built this van. Took me 9 months.
What type of van is it from the outside?
Mercedes Sprinter long wheelbase.
Is it? That looks massive.
Yeah, it's the way I built it. I built it like sort of like an open plan flat. But yeah, you know, this is very much part of my story. Is, you know, I went back into that same down, depressed mindset when the gyms closed when COVID happened. So this was kind of, you know, I'll swear at this. This is kind of my FU to the government to, you know, kind of live my life and get out as much as possible.
It is amazing. Like I said, I've seen it on your social media before. You've done a tour of your van, and then there's a video of you watching the television, and it's like looks so comfortable. So being 6'6", it might be a bit of a cramp for me.
No,
but
maybe 6'6". I don't know if you can see, but there's
quite a lot.
And it's I think I've had a mate in here who's well over 6 foot, and he can stand up.
Amazing, absolutely amazing. So you were talking about running. So you were talking about going from 31 minutes for a 5K to So I was training for the Stafford K, by which point I obviously knew that I was doing Kilimanjaro because I spoke with North Staff's Mind. We started putting the ball in, the ball in motion, and so I started training for that. And I think it was about 4 or 5 weeks. I started training for the 10K, and I was 31 minutes for my 5K time when I first started training, and then my 5K time when I did the Stafford 10K was about 24 minutes. Wow. So so I knocked quite well. That, like I say, it's that mindset, isn't it? It's, you know, it's that having that mental resilience to push yourself, and I think I've always had that ever since I joined the army. I've always wanted to push myself, and I think the more you push yourself physically in terms of physical challenges and physical feats, it helps you mentally as well. When you go through struggles in life, if you're willingly, voluntarily putting yourself through pain and discomfort and hardship, when you eventually involuntarily go through
hardship and discomfort in your actual life, I believe it helps you to be more equipped to deal with those situations.
Yeah, definitely.
Well said.
Definitely. So what kind of response do you get walking around with a fridge on your back or climbing with a fridge on your back?
It's a mixed bag, really. I mean, like, there's a lot of jokes. I mean, if I had £5 donated every time someone said, "Have you got a beer in there, mate?" I would literally by now. But no, it's really good. You know, I'll say this, for the people that need to hear it and the people that need to see it, they know. Do you know what I mean? The people that don't need to see it or hear it, you know, live a bit longer, because you might get it eventually.
Yeah.
But you know, I think I've seen people in the Brecon Beacons last year when I was training for Three Peaks. I did. Have you heard of the fan dance in Brecon?
Yeah.
It's the SAS training ground. It's where the SAS do their hill training phase, and there's a route there called the fan dance, which is 22 miles. I did that in 8 hours with the fridge on my back while training for the National Three Peaks. And I seen a lady coming down the hill with a dog, young lady, and as soon as she seen me, she basically just said to me, "I know why you're doing that." And she kind of just, I didn't really think anything of it at the time, but literally that night I got back to my van and I was chilling out, and I got a message from this girl who basically said to me, I tried to take my own life last year, and hiking has saved my life. I go hiking to help me deal with my demons. And yeah, man, that one message, made it worth it. And for all the negative comments I get, all the piss taking, it doesn't bother me anymore. I used to care what people think. I really don't now. I care more about what I think and my family thinks than anyone else.
Yeah, absolutely. And that just you telling me that sent shivers down my spine about that young girl. And I suppose for yourself, it does that. And it's amazing what you are doing. It is amazing that you're raising it. We spoke to Steve from Recovery Runners on Monday. Well, for the episode, it's Monday's Purpose. It was last week. But he was talking about he doesn't do it for himself. He does it for everybody else as well. So he set up the Recovery Runners, not just for him, but for everybody else. And that sounds very similar to what you're doing. You're doing this to support yourself and improve your mental health, because you recognize that does support your own mental health, but you're also doing it to raise awareness for people that there is an end game for this. There is something that's at the end of whatever you need to get to, and also raising money. So absolutely amazing.
I mean, like the way I see it is I struggle with a lot of sort of self-doubt and almost the imposter syndrome kind of thing, but this is why I challenge myself, because it does give me that confidence. And I tell everyone all the time, when you do challenges, when you push yourself physically and mentally, it gives you that bit of self-esteem, that bit of confidence every time you do it. And the thing about doing it for other people and that, I mean, a lot of people I know, I've served. It's not just about me, I've served with men who took their own lives. I've served with men who tried to take their own lives. My own dad, my own brother have both tried to commit suicide, and yet all these people around me have tried to take their own lives, and I haven't. And I never really have thought of it, but I've been in down places, and I don't even know why I feel down. Because particularly, I don't feel I have nothing to feel down about. But I just feel very strongly about it, because it helps me as much as it helps anyone else.
Yeah, definitely. Talk to us a bit more about what you do with mental health with North Staff's Mind then. I know what you're doing because I've seen on your Instagram, but for the people that haven't seen, what's the men's health group that you're setting up?
Yeah, so basically this money, obviously I worked alongside North Staff's Mind for Kilimanjaro. They basically approached me wanting to use my old images and videos to encourage more people to raise money for their charity and whatnot, to be fundraisers. And then when I agreed for them to use my photos, I basically told them the idea about Killy, and they wanted to have a meeting with me and set it all up and whatnot. But I never knew that then. But now I know that the money that I've raised, they've told me that it can basically, it's not pigeonholed. It can be used to set up a service that isn't already there. So in Staffordshire, I mean, I know in Stafford we've got Andy's Man Club, which you know, is on a Monday, but that's about it. And I know Andy's Man Club is very much, you know, you're meeting in a, I think they meet at Stafford Rugby Club, and you know, they have talks and that. They all have a cup of tea, which is great. You know, you're part of a community. That's what it's all about. But this men's talking group that we're trying to set up, this money that I've raised is going to solely go to funding that. So for me, it's amazing because I actually get to see the money that I've raised, that £20,500, and it keeps going up. I'm actually getting to see where that goes and how it's being used. It's not just going to pay corporate bosses in charities. Do you know what I mean? But the idea with this group, and I'm sure you've seen, I've got a group hike on the 18th, so a week on Saturday in Snowdon, and I'm taking the fridge up Snowdon again to bring all these people together, hopefully. So yeah, that's very much going to be a part of this men's mental health group. You know, every 6 to 8 weeks, take all the men that are struggling and take them out to a different mountain, or you know, or a different hike, or in nature, and almost challenge them. Do you know what I mean? Like, give them a physical challenge, get them out in nature, and try and steer them into positive outlets instead of negative ones. Instead of, you know, using drink, drugs, and whatever to forget, trying to put them on a more positive path. And hopefully, I've got, you know, I know quite a few guys in the army, definitely, who struggled with mental health, who have been through severe trauma and come out the other side and done something positive with their life. So hopefully we're going to get people like that to come to the group as well and speak about their experiences. And obviously, hopefully that might encourage some people that, you know, even if you have been through dark times, you can still be positive and move forward and carry on.
Yeah, definitely. And that's amazing that you're actually seeing the money that you've raised going towards something that you're going to be involved in, because that doesn't happen very often. Like you say, most of the time you raise the money,
no.
and then it gets forgotten about. Well, not forgotten about, but you almost give them the money and then that's it. Whereas you're seeing it through, which is amazing.
Yeah, and that's like kind of the thing that I'm most proud of is, you know, I really do struggle to give myself credit a lot of the time. Like, people say, "Oh, you've climbed Kilimanjaro, it's amazing," and I always say the same thing. I'm like, "Yeah, it's all right." Do you know what I mean? Because it's just another thing to me. Everyone, same with the van. Everyone, "Oh, you've done amazing building this van." It's like, yeah, it's one of them things. With everything I do, I always have that kind of attitude. It's like, well, what do I do next? And that's the way I always am. But with this, I actually do feel proud knowing that I can see what the money's being used for and almost create a legacy in the name of what I've done by creating a men's mental health group in the North Staffs area, especially in Stoke.
Yeah,
I mean, I think it says a lot about the person that you are, in the sense that you're not bothered so much by each individual stone, if you like, of that challenge. The bigger picture. It is the cause, the money that's raised, and what it's going to do now, and what it might do 10 years down the line, because somebody else might pick up the mantle and think, well, I'm going to do something similar. So that's massive credit to you, because I think it is inspirational, and you don't need me and Rob to say to you that you are doing some incredible work, because I think you do deep down know that. But for you, it's more about the future, which I think it's amazing, because the world needs more people like you, I guess, to raise this awareness and keep that going. Like we had Stephen on Monday's episode, what he set up with the recovery runners. You're doing the similar thing where you are in Staffordshire. I think that's just brilliant. It's massive credit to you.
So is it available? Can we still get people to send money? Can people still sponsor and donate?
Yeah, 100%. It's still staying open for a bit because obviously I'm still doing little bits of promo stuff with what I've done and that. So the actual fundraising website is GiveStar, and if you go on GiveStar and search Kilimanjaro Mountains for Mental Health, you'll find it. Or if you go on any of my social medias at Michael Copeland on Facebook or at the Fridge Man on Instagram, the link's in my bio on Instagram, and there's loads of posts on my Facebook with the link on. So I'm sure you'd be able to find it if you were looking.
And we will put it on our bio of this podcast episode and for the next couple of episodes as well. So if you want to sponsor Michael and donate towards obviously what we've just been talking about, the men's mental health group that he's talking about, please do go on to either the link in the bio or go to Michael's homepage and sponsor him and donate some money. So I think the last question I want to ask, I'm not sure if Ben's got any more questions. I know you're setting up this men's talking group.
Yeah.
And I know you said Lee Blakeman asked this question and you said, laughed about Kilimanjaro. What is next for Fridgeman? What is there any plans? Have we got an exclusive? Are you climbing Mount Everest? Are you going into the sea in Australia, doing a coral reef dive or something with a fridge on your back? Or are you going to Antarctica?
There is a couple of ideas in the pipeline, to be honest. And, my plan was, as soon as I've done this, I'll be honest, it took everything out of me.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I've had so many people message me thinking that my full-time job is fundraising and traveling in my van. And, I'm working as a lorry driver full-time, and I've been doing this for the last, since when I announced I was doing Kilimanjaro in November, October, November. I've literally been full on. You know what I mean? It's took over my life.
Yeah.
So it did take a lot out of me. So this is why I'm away in the camper. I'm enjoying, doing what I love. Finding waterfalls, traveling and climbing mountains, and doing all that kind of stuff. But I think there's definitely something going to be in the pipeline. There's been ideas of doing Everest Base Camp, which is definitely possible. It's a 10-day hike. It's 5,300 meters. So, but to be honest, I just don't know whether it's enough of a challenge for me. And I know that sounds a bit big-headed, but I don't think Everest Base Camp is going to be as hard as what I just did with Kilimanjaro. So
yeah,
there's also been ideas thrown around of walking the length of the UK and climbing the 3 tallest mountains on the way. So climbing from John O'Groats to Land's End while climbing Ben Nevis, Scafell Pike and Wales on the way as well, with the fridge, with all my kit, unassisted, with a tent. So I would have to carry everything with me, so it'd be 30 plus kilo ruck. But this would probably be maybe next year. Especially, it will definitely be preferred in the summer months anyway.
Definitely.
I've got a few things to be doing before then. You know what I mean? I'm just going to keep pushing the awareness and keep promoting the positive mental health side on my social media as well. Getting outdoors, getting exercise, eating good food, and you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But definitely going to be. It gets to a point to me. I get bored. I find normal everyday things quite boring, and I get to a point where I almost go, like I said, into a depressive state because I'm always chasing this high, or I've got nothing to look forward to. So I kind of do a lot better when I've got a goal or a purpose. So eventually, I think that's what will happen. Is I'll get very bored of doing the same thing, and then I'll end up doing something crazy again.
We're running a competition at the moment, Mike. For you must have heard of Hyrox, right?
I know Hydrox, yeah.
So we're running a competition to give some tickets away for a doubles competition.
Yeah.
I wonder if you and the fridge could class as doubles, and you could have the ticket for that. do Hyrox with the fridge on your back, maybe. I don't know.
Well, I probably would. I think I'd have a go. Yeah. I wouldn't put anything in the fridge, but I'd have a go with it empty. But it'd still be about 19 kilo empty.
We've got direct contact with the UK general manager of Hyrox, so maybe we could sort you out with that and see if that's a possibility.
That could be the next challenge.
Yeah, but it might tie me over until I do my next stupid one.
Yeah, it'd be like a walk in the park for you anyway.
It would be.
Anyway.
It would be.
What is it? What's Hydrox? Is it a K and then
8 1 kilometers? So you have to run you have to do the 1 kilometers, and then you've got to do some workout stations. So you got things like warp. It's very leg heavy, but you'll be all right with that. It's rowing, ski erg, lunges, farmer's carry, burpees. I don't know if anyone could do a burpee with a fridge on the back, but I'm sure you'd give it a go.
Yeah, it'd be difficult. I'm probably going to get whacked in the back of the head with the fridge every time I get It'll be worth it just for the laugh.
I'm sure you could turn your hand to some kind of new harness that would allow you to do it, though. Sounds like you could.
Possibly. Or wear a helmet.
Yeah, possibly. That's a good idea. Absolutely amazing. And like I say, I'm going to give you credit. And I know you don't tend to think of it like, but we're going to give you the credit for doing what you're doing, raising the money. We're raising £20,000 for this one event. I know you've raised £8,000 before that, but absolutely amazing. And if you do decide to do another challenge, you need to come back onto the podcast and let us know. We need to be first to know.
Yeah, all right, no worries.
Okay. Thank you very much, Michael, for coming on. And 18th of May, did you say, is the Climbing Snowdon?
Yeah, 18th of May, we're meeting in the parking for Snowdon car park. That's the name of it. At 9 o'clock in the morning, and we're all going to walk up the Clanberris path at 9:30. I'll have my fridge on my back, and hopefully we'll have some people turn up and try and promote positive mental health and
Awesome.
Raise a bit more awareness.
I can't come to 18th of May, unfortunately, but I've already said this to you on Instagram. Yeah. Definitely up for a challenge. I'm not a hiker. I've never hiked before, but saying that, I was never a runner. But I'm up for coming and doing a hike with you, as long as I can get in the fridge and carry me up.
Well, we can't. We have to put the beers in the fridge. We can't fit you in.
Okay, but we'll definitely do something. We'll definitely come on a hike with you. We'll go somewhere. We could climb up. We could do. I'll tell you what. You could do Potter's Half. That's what we could do with it, with a fridge on your back.
Yeah, definitely, mate. You know, I'm climbing almost every other weekend, sometimes every weekend, depending on how tired I am. But yeah, I'm always doing something.
Awesome. And if you haven't already, go onto Michael's Instagram, Facebook, go and sponsor him, go and donate some money from North Staff's Mind, because we know where the actual money is going, which is really unusual and a really good fact. So thank you very much for coming on, Michael.
Oh, sorry, one last thing. I've actually about that. I've actually got a meeting next Wednesday with the CEO of North Staff's Mind to actually talk about all my ideas about the group and get the ball rolling for that as well. So yeah, so hopefully that'll start being set up very soon.
Awesome, absolutely amazing.
I just want to say before you go, I think I've said it already, absolutely inspirational stuff. I think you just need to keep doing what you're doing, because it is great work. And I think if you have got that self-doubt, from me, what it's worth, I would say try and take that self-doubt away, because it is absolutely fantastic what you're doing. You just need to keep doing it, because there's a lot of people that probably you might not even know about it are looking up to what you're doing and take a lot of inspiration from it to keep doing it.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you. Yeah, like I say, it's hard sometimes when you kind of do these things to instill your own self-worth, but sometimes I don't realise that other people are watching and take something from it as well.
I can guarantee you, people take something from it. Definitely, it's inspired me. Looking at your Instagram, seeing all the waterfalls that you go to, jumping into the pools, into the cold water, it does inspire a lot of people. So you're definitely doing something right. So keep on it. It's really, really good.
Appreciate that, guys.
Thank you, Michael.
Cheers. Have a good night.